The only way that you really affect things is through action, is through doing something. I was a guy that had a lot of energy and I would just look for places to put it. I want my audience to respond to me basically as a person, as a human being. I guess the idea was, well, if maybe, you try to make music that can't be denied.
This is Asbury Park, New Jersey. It's typical of the little resort towns that line the Jersey shore, filled with vacationing urbanites from New York City and Philadelphia each summer, cold and empty all winter long. Anyone who grew up in one of these towns knows the peculiar desolation of seeing last summer's beaches strewn with snow, of the hard realities behind the great American illusion of fun. 20 years ago, Bruce Springsteen was just another kid playing guitar around here. Today, he's one of the most celebrated rock stars in the world. But he still carries the particular conflicting realities of life at the Jersey Shore around inside him. And this may be why in his own career, he's never settled for simple stardom. It was certainly his for the taking with the release of the Born in the USA album 4 years ago and the tour that supported it. His 4-hour shows were filled with unforgettable rock anthems, and he was hailed as one of the greatest rock performers of his generation. But Springsteen mistrusted all the adulation heaped upon him, and when he finally released a live album in 1986, it was to mark the end of an era and the beginning of something very new. 15 years ago, with his first record, Springsteen presented himself as a sort of poet of the streets, singing about young people on the run from the small towns they'd grown up in. Today, he's crowding 40, and both he and those people have arrived at various destinations in their lives. But like Springsteen himself, his characters aren't entirely happy about where they've wound up. They're still searching for shelter of some sort, and like Springsteen the artist, they're very much on the move.
I suppose at the end of the Born in the USA tour, we really felt like we did a lot of things we wanted to do. We played big halls and reached a bigger audience than I ever thought that I would reach, with my music. And kind of the time that we spent putting the record together was sort of like tying the knot on the, and say, well, this is kind of what we did, during this period of time. And I didn't know what I was going to do next. I wasn't sure, but I knew it was going to be, I knew it was going to be different. It wasn't going to be, up until that point, everything had evolved from our club act, from like when we met in Asbury, we got together and we got on a little stage.
Just wanna be loved, ain't no lie. Rose in my stone desire.
And the show just really developed right out of that club act, right up to the Born in the USA tour, where basically people were standing where they had been standing for 14 years. And it was funny because the first thing we did when we began rehearsals, I said, look, I told the equipment guys, I said, put everybody's stuff on the other side of the stage. You know, and put this person off center and make this, you know, everything, switch everything around. And let me tell you, it was funny because we tried to do it at the beginning of the Born in the USA tour, and we couldn't do it. People were like, hey, my spot. But I can't see. It was funny. So this tour, we did it, and you know, people just got, I wanted people to come in, and when they sat down, and when the band first came out, right away, it was, you know, something slightly different was going to be happening because nobody was, I wanted to take people out of their roles as much as possible, take myself out of my role that my fans had gotten used to me in, and take whatever it was, you know, and take all the guys out of their roles a little bit, you know, and just so that people would get ready for something a little fresher to happen.
Your scrapbooks filled with pictures of all your leading men. Well, baby, don't put my picture in there without. Don't make us some little girl's dream that can't ever come true. That only serve to hurt, make you cry like you do. Baby, don't do it to me, and I won't do it to you.
We picked up some older songs and put them back in the show, you know, because they fit for one reason or another, you know. So it wasn't really about, it wasn't about breaking with the past. It was kind of more about breaking with the things that felt like they were about to become purely ritualistic. You know, so with this tour, the idea was to redefine the band a little bit and redefine myself, try to represent myself again as a songwriter and as a guy in a rock band, and you know, try to take some of the stuff that had become just a burden, just put it down by the wayside a little bit, which you can do, you know. If you come up with new ideas, you know, you got to have some new songs to sing, and a new way of seeing yourself, and I suppose living also.
Well, I've been out of the woods for 6 days and nights now. Well, I'm a little hot wired, but I'm feeling alright. I got some money in my pocket and a lonely ride. If I can make it down to Galveston to Sanity Ride,
What I do is I try to, you know, you try to put different elements and different things that make people even, you know, respond to each other differently, even after a very long period of time, you know, which really we did this time. People had to interact differently, even with old friends, you know. It's like, and that was important. And this particular tour, I felt this was going to be essentially, you know, it was a men and women, you know, men and women tour, and all that involves.
ought to be easy, ought to be simple enough, yeah. Man meets a woman and they fall in love. House is haunted and the ride gets rough. You got to learn to live with what you can't rise above. You want to ride on down here through this tunnel of life. Summer
know, people want more from their channel, though, than just entertainment. They
About it.
Love songs are the great staple of popular music. Boy meeting girl meeting boy in an unending chain of rosy romantic affirmation. And all the boys and all the girls live happily ever after, or at least that's the traditional implication. But as anyone Springsteen's age must inevitably realize, things don't always or even often work out that way. Love fades, dreams die, life becomes incredibly complex. Springsteen has sought to express this complexity in his latest songs, a risky endeavor for a rock artist of his stature. Mainstream rock and roll has always been the realm of youthful passions, the province of eternal high spirits. But Springsteen, who will be 39 next September, has grown beyond that limited view of life. As everyone eventually must, he's crossed over into a world of adult concerns. And now he's attempting to bring rock and roll along with him.
I suppose the pop love song has tended to be, romantic, and a little bit of a one-dimensional sort of way. Not everybody's. Elvis Costello's written tremendous, love songs. Dylan did, but in general, I think people's impression of it is more sort of a little on the one-dimensional side. So mainly I said, well, if I'm going to write this type of music, I want it just to be three-dimensional or multi-dimensional and take in all sides of the emotions involved, I wasn't trying to write a record that was particularly dark or bright or one thing or another. To me, the record is affirmative.
I hold you in my arms. Yes, a blank plate. But all those words whispered, babe, if you turn away. Saw you last night out on the edge of town. I wanna read your mind, know just what I got in this new thing I found. Tell me what
faith is essential, and so is doubt, you know? It's like, you gotta have, you're not gonna go anywhere with just one of those things. You sort of need both things, you know? And, you know, I think that the faith, whether it's in a relationship or in your own experience or life, pushes you onward. And doubt in some fashion tempers the faith, makes it realistic and pragmatic, and makes you question yourself and just sort of investigate what you're doing so you can do it better down the line, hopefully, you know. So to me, the record was really, I mean, there's certainly doubt in it, you know, but I don't know anyone who's in any relationship who doesn't have that feeling, or any of the feelings that are on the record, I don't think, you know.
It's the same thing night on night. Who's wrong, baby, who's right? Another fight and I slam the door. Another battle in that dirty little war. When I look at myself, I don't see the man I wanted to be. Somewhere along the line I slipped off track. Come moving one step ahead, two steps back.
Hopefully, if you write a good record or any good work of art, or a good piece of music, is like a well, you know, and people can go to it for you know, fun or you know, sustenance, or some faith, some companionship, and it can speak to who they are now in their lives, you know. And that was what that was my main concern. That was the main thing I wanted the record to do. And then I wanted, hopefully, I felt it would find its audience. And I understood that, you know, it's possible that maybe parts of my real young audience wouldn't connect with it, but that's okay, because I'll make other records, and I've made other records, and then maybe they would, you know, because I think the complexity of those feelings is present even when you're very young, you know.
One of the great problems for rock performers has always been how to grow older without growing ridiculous. Mick Jagger once said that he didn't want to be singing Satisfaction when he was 40, but he's well past that now, and he's still singing it. Springsteen hasn't disavowed his earlier work, but he knows that to attempt to write a song now from the perspective of a teenager would be a lie. His songs are stories, and they're based around characters, and those characters, like the songwriter himself, have weathered the 70s and soldiered through the 80s. And along the way, presumably, they've learned a few things. This is the news that Springsteen brings us in his best love songs. News from the real world of the human heart.
Mainly, I wanted to write songs that I could get up and sing without being embarrassed, you know, at the particular age that I am, you know. I've tried to write to my age all along the way, for the most part, you know. You know, matter of fact, when I wrote the Born to Run record, when I was questioning that record and its value and its worth after it had come out, and you know, I had a lot of different feelings about it myself, you know. And at the time I was, you know, we had just been successful, and I was very doubtful of myself, you know. I'm like, you know, somebody said, oh man, I'm great, you know. Oh my God, this is garbage, you know. Just, you know, like you feel both things, and you're just trying to find out.
In the day we sweat out on the streets of a runaway American dream. At night we ride through mansions of glory, suicide machines. Run from cages on highway 9, don't wheel feel rejected, stepping out of the line. Whoa, maybe this town rips the bones from your back to death trap, to suicide.
at the end of that record, you know, I look back at it and I tended to say, well, maybe this was good for now, you know, but these people have to go someplace. It's not just good enough that they go, you know. They have to go. Where are they going? They have to go somewhere, you know. You just can't go. You can't go all the time. You know, you gotta have, for it to have meaning, there has to be someplace you're going. And basically after Born to Run, I tried to set out to find out where were those two people going. I didn't know myself.
Well, I got a job and tried to put my money away, but I got debts that no honest man can pay. So I drew what I had from the Central Trust, and I bought us 2 tickets on that Coast City bus. Now, baby, everything dies, honey, that's a fact. And maybe everything that dies someday comes back. Put your makeup on, put your hair up, baby, and meet me tonight in Atlantic City.
After that, all my records, I've said before, were sort of reactionary to Born to Run, the questions that I asked in that very song. I asked all the questions that I'm still searching for the answers for today. But you can't find it unless you strip the illusion away. You know, you got to strip away the illusion and find out what is really there. That's the only way you can really get next to it. Whether you're that guy in Born in the USA, or you know, and you're dealing with social forces, or whether you're, you know, whether you're the fella in Cautious Man, you got to strip away the fairy tale. You know, you got to strip away. I felt that the guy in Born in the USA wants to strip away that mythic America, you know, which was really Reagan's image of America. He wants to find something real and connecting, you know. He comes back and he's looking for something new in his home. He's looking for a home in his country, you know.
Born down in a dead man's town, the first kicker took us when I hit the ground. End up like a dog that's been beat too much, till you spend half your life just covering up now. Born in the USA, I was born in the USA, I was born in the USA, born in the USA now. Got in a little hometown jam, sun blew apple in my hands, sent me off to a foreign land to go and kill the yellow man. Born in the USA, I was born in the USA, born in the USA, born in the USA. Come back home to the refinery, how a man said the son of Phil was up to me. Went down to see my VA man, he said, son, don't you understand now?
I wasn't satisfied with the Born in the USA record. I just didn't think I made all the connections I wanted to make on it and stuff. You know, I felt that I wrote about half of the songs that I wanted to write, you know. I liked Born in the USA, I liked Glory Days, I liked My Hometown. It was close, it was, and in the end, I guess the central ideas that I had it did seem like a step forward, and I think that the characters did sort of rebound from where they were on the Nebraska record, you know. They learned to live with certain really hard truths, you know. Whether it was the guy in Born in the USA or the guy in My Hometown or the people in Glory Days, you know, that made them different. I felt that made them different. And
That's still true to an extent on this record. I mean, you got to live with what you can't rise above.
Yeah.
And
So, but this record was a record where I really, it just, you know, I only wrote 1 or 2 extra songs besides, you know, besides what's on the album, and it was just very, as far as an album goes, I felt it was real. It was my best collection of songs that came at one time, that pertained to a certain idea. And it was stuff that I felt I had not written about before, except very sparsely, you know, so it was new. It was a new experience. It was some new ideas, and so I was happy with it, you know. I didn't have any, usually before I put a record out, I have a lot of, you know, conflict, you know. With this record, I didn't, you know, it was like, oh, okay, you know,
Really?
glad to see it, you know, glad to see it come out.
That man sitting on a little stool takes money from my hand while his eyes take a walk all over me. Hands me 2 tickets, smiles, and whispers good luck. Well, cuddle up, angel, cuddle up, my little dove, and we'll ride down, baby, into this tunnel of love. Well, I can feel a soft silk of your blouse and through them soft thrills in our little fun house. And the lights go out and it's just the 3 of us. Yeah, you, me, and all that stuff we're so scared of. Gotta ride down, baby, into this tunnel of love. Well, there's a crazy mirror showing us both in 5D. I'm laughing at you, you're laughing at me. There's a room of shadows that gets so dark, brother. It's easy for 2 people to lose each other in this tunnel of love.
The stuff came very naturally, you know. I didn't have an idea except like, well, I want to sort of write about, you know, I want to write some love songs, and so it was about it, you know. That was the main, and do it sort of in a way I felt it hadn't exactly been done before, you know. And just expand the range of, you know, my characters and the people that I've been writing about, and you know, just broaden people's perception of them and give them other lives. And, you know, that was sort of I guess that was my main goal, sort of, you know.
Around you while you're writing this stuff, I mean, what kind of life are you living wherever you are? Is it a pretty down-to-earth, everyday sort of existence? Or?
I think so, you know. I guess basically, let me think, I recorded a little garage apartment that I put at a 24-track digital tape player that I bought quite a while ago. And I just set it up in the garage apartment. I mean, it's not really a studio. It's just, if you walked in, it's an apartment. And there's just a big board at one end of it. And the tape deck is in the kitchen. And, you know, it's kind of fun. And then there's mics in, like, the little living area. And that was basically, that's how I recorded the whole record there. You know, the technology has gotten so good. I mean, there's no baffles, there's no soundproofing, there's no anything. It's just the tape machine and the 2 microphones. And I had some synthesizers. And record a lot of it with the windows open and the cars going by. And for some reason it didn't pick up on the tape. It was funny. It was, you know, so it was just me and one other guy, me and Toby Scott, the fellow that does my engineering. And we go out there. I go out there I get up in the morning. I tried to plan my day out real carefully. I get up and I try to do something physical. I'd run or go to the gym or, you know, do something like that. Then I'd come back in the afternoon. I'd go up from about 1 to 6. I would go and I would work. And then at 6 I would stop and I would go in the house and I would, you know, we'd have dinner and relax. And that was basically what it was. You know, that was, the record was made very quickly in about, I think, 2 or 3 weeks. The main body of songs and stuff was recorded fast, and the garage apartment's about, you know, 2-minute walk from my main house. And
so it's not a matter of your wife has to drag you out and make you have dinner or anything.
No, I get at 6 I stop, you know. That was really hard to do because then she would go away. I would be there till midnight. All right, instantaneous, automatically, like I revert, like, you know, right back to like, oh, what time is it? Oh, it's 1:30. All right, one more, you know.
Woke up this morning, the house was cold. Checked the furnace, she wasn't burning. Went out and hopped in my old Ford. Hit the engine, but she ain't turning. Giving each other some hard lessons lately. We ain't learning.
Marriage just is. I think what I liked was it was a very peaceful working process. It was kind of relaxed, and the record was an intimate record, and it just felt right for that record. You know, there wasn't a lot of people around, and you know, it just lent a certain intimacy to the whole thing. That was part of the record, and I wanted the record to be, you know, non-mythic and just real. And I suppose smaller is not the right word, because I think it's a big record, but I guess austere, you know, just sort of real clean and very arranged. It's my most arranged record since Born to Run. You know, it's just kind of what felt close to me to write about and do at this particular moment. I suppose my life was more structured during the making of the record than it's been. You know, we worked 6 hours a day or something, and then the songs came pretty easy. You know, they weren't really. I don't remember really struggling. I worked on them, but I didn't like do what I used to do. You know, so.
Which was what? Like,
which was just obsess. You know, I was a guy that had a lot of energy, and just, you know, I would just look for places to put it. I could work on something for 2 hours, or I could work on something for 10 hours, you know, and the result may be the same, you know, or not as good sometimes, but I just had the energy to put into it, and I didn't have anything else to do, you know, I didn't have anything else to really, my life was very one-dimensional for a very long time, you know, from when I was, you know, 14 or 15 to when I was into my 30s, you know, it was just music, which was, it was okay, it was good, but, you know, there's other things. Uh-oh, we're late. I suppose that my life has been a little more structured, you know, but it's tricky because I still, you know, I've lived a certain way for 35 years. It doesn't go away overnight.
George Michael.
Looking for something new?
Were you scared back in the, like, I remember when during the Born in the USA tour, there was, I think, the Daily News or something sponsored that contest, who's better, Elvis or Bruce?
Oh.
I mean, when things reached that level, did that stuff really did you really want to just step back from all that sort of thing and get away from it?
I don't know. I guess the best way to deal with that stuff is first of all, it's happening, ignore it. Because it doesn't, it's the flotsam of, it's just the stuff that's, I mean, once you reach a certain audience and you become a part of the public's consciousness, that kind of stuff it flies. It just flies all over. And you can't, you really can't, you can't focus on it. It's like, you look at something, oh, gee, I don't believe this. You gotta be kidding me.
I got a half for Rembrandt, priceless art. How the little girls that want to tear me apart. When I walk down the street, people stop and stare. Well, you think I'm at the thrill, but baby, I don't care. 'Cause I got more good luck honey than old King Baru. But the only thing I got, baby, I ain't got it.
I think I try to tune into the public's perception of who I am and what I'm doing, but you can't really tune into all the just the miscellaneous silliness that goes on around you, because it's a waste of time and energy, and it's here today, it's gone tomorrow. It was only really there to sell a newspaper for a day or two, and give it, so it's not that important. Right from the very beginning, my attitude was the only way that you really affect things is through action, is through doing something, is through doing your work, doing the job, that's that, like in 1975 when the whole thing went down, and it was kind of controversial. The record Born to Run came out, got a lot of raves, it got attacked by some people. My main feeling was, well, you're not gonna, prove to people that you're whatever authentic or real or whatever, by saying you are. It's like, wait a minute, you gotta do it. You gotta do something. So I just went home and wrote some more songs, and I said, okay, we'll write some more songs. Get my band, we'll go out, we'll do some more shows, and we'll go back to those towns, and we'll play those shows, and we'll play those songs, and if it takes. I wasn't going anyplace, I was a musician for life, and however my record sold or whatever, that I wasn't going away. I was going to be out there playing and doing my job, and so my main take on it was to go home and just try to, write some good music and then go out and play some good shows, and that's kind of how you make, that's how you redefine yourself, and you make people deal with you, I guess the idea was, well, if maybe, you try to make music that can't be denied in some fashion.
I hold you in my arms. There's a band playing. One of those words whispered, baby, just as you turn away. I saw you last night out on the edge of town. I wanna read your mind and know just what I've got in this new thing I found. So tell me what I see when I look in your eyes. Is that you, baby, or just a breeze in disguise?
This record comes at a time, when it's sort of like after the Cinderella story, world's greatest rock star marries world's most beautiful girl, lives happily ever after, and then comes out with this record about a really unusual thing to come out with. What was going through your mind when you put these songs together, or did it just sort of flow out of you?
Yeah, they were just the songs I wrote, they were just, I suppose they were the way that I made sense of what was happening to me, and it was the way that I feel I made sense of what was happening to me, and the way that I made it real to my audience, because you're right, people do, everybody wants the story with the happy ending or the fairy tale, or you wanted it when you were little and you want it now, it's like people, it's popular, but for me, it was, I suppose it was a way that I would make what was happening, make people deal with what was really, I felt, you know, just sort of happening, you know, and it just seemed healthy. It seemed like the thing that I guess I've always been sort of concerned with. You know, I want my audience to respond to me basically as a person, you know, as a human being, and I want to be able to respond to them in that fashion, and I feel that's where the value of the relationship lies, you know, not in, I'm not here to play out some fairy tale.
Bobby said he'd pull out, Bobby stayed in. Jenny had a baby, it wasn't any sin. They were set to marry on a summer day. Bobby got scared and he ran away. Jane moved in with her mom out on Shawnee Lake. She said, "Ma, sometimes my whole life feels like one big mistake." She settled down in a back room. Time passed on. Later that winter, the sun came along. Spare hearts and broken hearts keep the world turning around.
I suppose that this record, the nature of it was, I wanted it to be anti-illusion, and I always sit down to try and write personally, you know, because that seems to be when I'm at my best. You know, I've been lucky in that I've made the records I want to make, and people have liked them. That, I suppose, is lucky, you know. I've made all the music I like to make. I play the music I love, and people like it, you know. So that's a lucky man.
Inside the Tunnel of Love was sponsored by Close-Up Toothpaste by
Everybody's welcome. The Miller time, yours and mine.
with a woman from Portland, Oregon. Family members have confirmed that rock superstar
Bruce Springsteen is taking a bride.
I can't believe it because he's so good looking, he's got so much money, and he's so available. But not anymore.
Wanna change my clothes, my hair, my face, and I'm getting nowhere.
At age 35, Springsteen has never been married. His bride-to-be is 25-year-old model actress Julianne Phillips. They met backstage after one of his concerts in Los Angeles 6 months ago.
I'm not happy about it. No more love songs. I can't listen to love songs and think they're being sung to me now.
About time he got married.
I think he's a fox. I think she's lucky.